Hi, guys. My name is Tanisha Simpkins, and I'm going to do a little what we call a small group lesson here. And I'm going to go ahead and record it. Okay. Let me just get some stuff. I'm trying to fix this computer a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and record it. And what I'm talking about is seasons. Discouragement of a confused heart. That's the title that I named it. I named it because of seasons. Because as we know, we always hear that seasons change. We always hear our elders say something like, don't worry about it. You'll get through it. Things change. And that's exactly correct because in our season flows, right? Just like our life do. And when it flows, it changes. It's never the same. In seasons you get rain, you get thunderstorms, you get snow, you get sunshine. Um, and in those different seasons is basically an emotion and a feeling. Because when it storms, you're in the house, you may be blue, you're under your covers, all those type of different things. But we know that at that moment or in time that things will change, you know, and that's what we're talking about season. So I put seasons change. I put, what is the root of disappointment or discouragement? Failure is behind most discouragement that we have to admit. The fear of criticism, of what they think, the fear of responsibility, of what you can handle, the fear of failure, of what you blew, basically, can cause a major onset when we have that feeling or that blueness of discouragement. Okay. Um, and I would say, during this course, because I am a believer, and that's basically where I'm going from this course, I would say how it can help you in this course. I will look for like Ephesians 2:8 and 9. Basically, you have to admit that God is in your life. It's called the ABCs. Admit God is in your life. B, believe in Christ. And C, commit to trust in Him. That's what I'm basing this actual course on, so you would know. Okay. I chose to do it on YouTube because I can save it and send it out, as opposed to having a group of people to make comments or so forth. Maybe the next session, I'll more than likely be able to do something like that. Okay. All right. So, discouragement. Now, discouragement, we know, and confusions, I would say both are feelings and emotions, you know, that we have. And the thing is, how do we manage an unwanted feeling? Okay. Um, how do we manage it? You know, one thing we do is we challenge it. That's one thing that we can do is challenge it. And how do we challenge it? We challenge it um, by people. You know, people will challenge us on how we are, or we challenge it on how we're feeling. What do we do? What's next, and what we do. This lighting is terrible. Um, that's how we challenge it, and how we're feeling. We ask questions. What is it that I'm feeling? I'm feeling discouraged. Why am I feeling discouraged? What is the root cause of feeling discouraged? What triggered it? Um, what made you feel like you want to be discouraged? A lot of people feel that way. I'll take relationships as a cause of it. Relationships will have us discouraged on how things did not work out. I use an example. If a person was dating someone, right? This is a good example. If a person was dating someone, and while they were dating them, they figure things are going good, things are great. It seems that way, um, but all of a sudden that person disappears. What we call it now is we call it what, ghosting. All of a sudden that person ghosting. So now a person can feel discouraged, that that maybe they didn't do the right thing, or maybe they was fit that their responsibility, they didn't do what they was thought they should do, or they go hard on themselves as to, what's me, what's about me, why, why this person did that, is something wrong with me. They start doing that me stuff, getting confused about that they're a great person. It wasn't them. It's never you. It's always that person, whatever they choose to do. You know what I mean? Whatever they choose to do at that moment. Um, or I always say, just take the L and walk away and keep going. Never tell a person or call them and say, well, what did I do wrong? Um, you know, um, Discouragement, yeah, it can hurt. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you have high hopes of doing something, or wanting to do whatever it is that you want to do. Hold on one second. That you want to do. So it can hurt. Um, and but what do we do? When we're discouraged, we ask for help. And sometimes people don't realize, because that is an emotion, because it can take you in a dark place, we should ask for help. And a lot of us sometimes feels like we don't know who to ask for help from. You know, um, one person that we can ask for help would be our friends. Um, if you have a good friend that challenge you sometimes, um, um, that person can help you. You can tell them, what you're dealing with. Sometimes our discouragement may be an embarrassment to us sometimes, whatever the cause, or whatever happened, it can be an embarrassment. So have a good friend, a good Christian friend, or just a good friend all around. We all should have someone in our life that we can talk to. If you don't have someone in your life to talk to, find someone, to commit someone in your life to talk to, even if it's just a therapist. We have therapists that we see, and we have so many therapists now that we can do virtually online. And we have some apps that have therapists have joined apps. So I always say the thing here: we are never alone. We are never alone in this world. There's always someone. And the other person that you can ask for help is God. Psalms 26 says, Lord, um, cross-examine me, test my motives and my affections. Is what you feeling real? Does it have to be that far that you feeling this way? You know what I mean? Are we just going too strong? Are we about to crash out, as they would say? Um, you know, crash out. When you feeling a certain way, some people just uh, go wild and crash out, and do all type of things, and bust people cars, and call people on the phone, and be rude and say nasty things to them. um, you know, um, cross-examine, yourself. Ask the Lord that is your motive. And another thing we do is, how am I feeling? How I can get help? We pray. Now I know a lot of people done this before. Lord, don't allow me to say this out my mouth. Lord, please check my face before I say what I got to feel. We ask the Lord to monitor our feelings and our thoughts. Oh Lord, please help me before I crash out. We ask for help, and that's a way that we can ask for help. Is we pray those things. Lord, shut my mouth. When we're in our employment, I ask that a lot of times, because sometimes my mouth can get me definitely in trouble. And I said, Lord, just keep my mouth still, keep my mouth closed. Before I say what just popped up in my head. So one of the young ladies at my job tells me, she said, well, Miss Tanisha, don't say the first thing. Don't say the second thing. Say the fifth thing. I say the fifth thing. Am I that bad? She says, say the fifth thing. Don't say the first thing. Don't say the second thing. Say the fifth thing. And I always remember that when she said, and she's young, she's 20 years old. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Say the fifth thing. Don't say the first thing that comes out. You know, um, because it's just my emotions at the moment. It's just what I'm thinking, that it's like that raw, type of feeling at that moment. And um, yeah, so I've learned now to say the fifth thing, you know, because when you're angry and confused, you got to find out what's the reason. Why am I um, feeling this way? If I do something, will it help me or will it hinder me? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it'll hinder us, but sometimes it can help us in a good way as long as you use it positive. You know, you know what? I'm feeling this way. Let me go work out. You know what I mean? Let me go take a walk. Let me go sit down and write in a journal and write some thoughts. Let me go talk to someone to feel better. You know, all those things there can help you. Okay. Um, and the thing is also, how do um, how do you master your emotions? How do you master your emotions? Um, that's one of the things I would love for us to have a plan when it comes to our young people now, is how to master their emotions. Our young people now, we call it, they're not being emotional intelligence. That's the new word. They're not being emotional intelligence of how they feel, and how they convey themselves to people, and without getting so angry. It's like the only thing for them right now, when they have those emotions, is just to fight. They like to fight. It's like, oh, you want to fight me, or you with that, or you about that, or you want this, or whatever the words they be saying, my niece say. And it's like, yeah, and they just start fighting. Where they do that at? Like, what does all that come from? All that energy to be upset that we're gonna fight. We're gonna lay our hands on each other and just fight. And that's about mastering our emotions. And the thing about it is, either you're gonna change it or you're gonna challenge it. And guess what? I prefer to change it. So even with young kids, if you have young kids and you see them in that direction, or you see them when you're saying something, they get angry, you can't just say, "Oh, they're just young," "Oh, that's just how they feel," "Oh, they're just in their emotions." No, 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 no. Because what they'll do to you, they'll do out in the streets, or they'll do in school to their teachers and to other adults. It's gotten to the point now, as us, we don't even want to talk to young people because we're scared they're just gonna say something rude. You see them, you say hello, you don't know what to do. And that's just not okay. That's not okay. Okay. So, and the thing about it is, it's like, what would Jesus do? With my emotion, what would he do? We have to think of what would he do. You remember that side, what would Jesus do? I think that was probably one of the best things, because they get people to think, to stop and think exactly what it is that they would do and what they shouldn't do, you know, in the moment. Because like I said, seasons change. Whatever that situation is you're mad about, or whatever is something that you can handle that cause a disappointment, or cause a discouragement, or confusion, it's going to change. It flows. Seasons, it flows. It never stops. Our days never stop unless we expired, unless we end, unless we unalive, or unless it's death. Our life don't stop. It continues. It continues. It continues. And when it continues, you know, we have to think exactly what it is that we're going to do. You know, and I'm talking like this because um, it's a transformation. So this is the beginning of me having a conversation of my transformation course that I will be having. I'll be starting on next week. This lighting is bad. Everything about this video, it can be better. This is my first time using actually YouTube Live. So it will be better the next time. I'll get it right. I use a different cam. I use an actual cam to make it right. I actually have one, but I was just trying out to see. But I am very thankful. Um, And in the next course, actually the course that I have, which is transformation, we'll be able to have people and we can talk and we can respond, because that's what small groups do. We talk about it, we share our thoughts. Everybody has a story. It's an opportunity to actually share your story if there's something that you don't mind doing, live and recorded, right? Yeah, something that we don't mind doing live and recorded. But I want to say, don't keep all of that in you. It's like the bag lady. When you think about the bag lady got one, two, three, four bags, and she toting, and she got one in her hand because it's a heavy weight on you. It's a stronghold. It's a burden, that's to you. Um, that's to you. And the best thing to do, is to, give it away. Give it away. The purpose is to make it easier. Release the bag. What I'm saying, give God the control of it, basically, but release the bag. You know, and how can you do that? Sometimes we could just take a break. You know, we just step away from the situation that's causing confusion. You know what I'm saying? Try to give a different perspective because it reduces the mental fatigue. You know what I'm saying? Practice mindfulness. You know what I'm saying? Engage in mindful meditation or focus on your breathing, or think of good thoughts, or draw, or do a crossword puzzle. You know, they had a awesome therapy of coloring. You know, who knew that when we were little, the coloring calmed us and had us at ease? You know what I mean? That's what I mean by giving your um, a mental exercise, or a mental, like a coffee shop. You just go in and sit down and you drink coffee and you sit in there and you're in your thoughts. That's the same thing as sketching and writing. Um, One of the things they have for like autism kids, the best thing they like to do is draw. That gives them a mental break. That's what I'm trying to say. In their mind. So start to drawing. You know what I'm saying, or coloring. That gives you a mental break, and don't overthink. Or give judgment to it, because that gives clutter to the mind. We start giving all this judgment of what it is that we're disappointed about, or what we have a confused heart about. I'm confused that this person don't like me. I'm confused that somebody's talking about me. I'm confused that on my job. But we start giving our own judgment of what we think it is to be, instead of addressing the thing. If I have a issue at your job, have a meeting, you know, and have a third person in there if you need to be, so you can get some type of clarity. Speaking to somebody, you can get some type of clarity. If the situation is not going in a relationship, have a conversation. Hey, let's have a conversation. It might be a hard conversation for the both of us, but I think it's just something that we need to have, that we can just be honest about, and ask your questions. And if the questions is not what it is that you need, walk away. And sometimes walking away can be very hard, you know, but at least you have the clarity and you're not confused as to what you're feeling and what's been given to you, because actions always speak louder than words. That's one of the best things that I can say. But we also have to let him guide us, and when he guide us, that's when you're close to him. So meaning that we have to have a relationship. We have to have a relationship with God, our own personal relationship. And how do we have a relationship? We can read our Bible. We could just sit in meditation and talk. How do people like, oh, how you talk to God? How you have a conversation? You just say, God, this is what I'm feeling on my heart. And you just say what it is that you're feeling, or say what it is that's on your mind, or say what it is that's troubling you, um, getting closer to him. Um, and he'll talk back to you. He may not talk back to you in the voice, but he'll talk back to you in things that come about, or directions, or people, you know. But you have to allow him that, know that he can handle it. Trust me, he can handle it. There's evidence in your life, I'm sure, that he's given you grace and mercy that he can handle it. I can say he done gave me grace about 150 times. And that's not even a number that he's given me grace and mercy um, over my life, and I'm very thankful for it. You know, very very thankful for it. So I know that he can handle it, and guess what? He know who you are, because when we did our ABCs of you need God in your life, to let Him in your life, B, believe in Jesus, and C, commit to trust in Him. He knows who you are. There's a song by Tasha called "He Knows My Name." Okay, He knows my name. All of that. He knows exactly who you are. So when you come to Him already, He already know who you are. He already know what you have in need of. You understand me? So He knows you. You know what I'm saying? So we given control. I know. Why is it so hard for a lot of us? Why is it so hard? Even the person who's a controlling person, and I know we all know a controlling person. I know a few of them. It's hard for them to just let go, or to allow somebody else to be in control. They're the first one to say, I do it. They're the first one to say, I'll drive. They're the first one to, no, you can't drive me. Or the first one to just be in control of the whole situation. I got it. It's hard for them to release themselves. And that's what God wants you to do. He wants you to release yourself, release everything. You know what I'm saying? He knows how you already feel. Um, you know, so we're going to do that, you know. Um, was there ever a time you released yourself and everything to God? And how did you feel? When I released, I probably boo-hoo cried. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, okay, God, I can't do it. I can't handle it. I'm trying to handle it on my own. I'm trying to be the mother, the sister, the employee, the friend, the church person. You're trying to do so much, and the balance part of it, you want to be in control of everything. But the Lord said, tell us, okay, let go some of those things and let me have control, and let's see what we can do. Because when we decide to bombard our mind, then it becomes a mental thing. April right now is mental awareness month. All the things that um, deal with our mental, like discouragement, like confusion, like heartbreak, even our health. It deals with us mentally, because we're thinking, Lord, I want to live and not die, right? Lord, I'm doing everything to live. I'm taking all this medicine. I'm taking these herbal medicines. I'm taking these teas. I'm doing reading all these videos that's on there from all these herbal doctors of what I need to do, this root and this root. Um, I'm thinking, my health part of, I want to make sure my sugar, or I want to lose weight, or you know um I'm having chemo, I'm doing dialysis, Lord. All those things, even for my health, is a mental issue, and that brings discouragement of, am I going to live, right? So what do we do with that? We give it to God. As I said, He's in control. We take that away from us, because if we're trying to get healthy and all that stress, it's not going to get you better. It would not. It would not. It would take you out faster. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. I know that to be true. So, what steps can we use to make our load easier? Like I said, reading our Bible, listen to some good praise music. To feed the soul. You know what I'm saying? Going for a walk. Walking. It helps us. You know, um, look at something funny and laugh. You know, look at a comedy show, or I don't, well, comedy shows are kind of serious now. Look at something old back in the day that made you laugh, and you're just gonna have a good time laughing. Um, Release some of that. That's in you. Um, but I'll just say this. Like I said, on next week, I'll have this a whole lot better. So this is basically my intro for seasons of transformation. And when I talk about transformation, we talk about transformation spiritually, physically, mentally, vocationally, socially. I think it's another one that I have. But we're talking about those transformations of our life, of how we can move from one to the next. One to the next is seasons. So we're moving in seasons. We're moving in seasons. We're moving in seasons. Seasons don't stop. Seasons don't stop. They have not stopped since you've been here alive. We have different seasons, different things happen in our season, whether good or bad. We deal with it and we move forward because it's gonna move. It's gonna move. Life gonna keep moving. Whatever happened in that season, life will keep moving until it's not. Life will keep moving. So I'll say transformation requires someone speaking into our life and change. All right. And that's what I'm going to be doing. My transformation, I'll be speaking to your life, looking for change and hoping for change for the better. There's going to be some challenges, definitely, as to what I say and what I require. Maybe a little homework. Um, but the best thing about it is we're transforming to be better. You know, better with our family, better with our kids, better with our employee, better with our people, better socially, transferring to be better. We're looking for a new season in our life. We're trying to create that season in our life. So whenever anything happens or how we are, it just don't take us out. Mm-mm. We're not looking for it to take us out. Not at all. No, we're not looking for it to take us out. Not at all. Because we're going to do better in our seasons. Guys, my name is Tanisha Simpkins. You can find me on any social platform at I am Tanisha Simpkins. And I thank you guys for joining. Like I say, I apologize for this lighting. I kind of like just did it in another room right quick. I was supposed to be on Zoom, but it didn't work out. My computer wouldn't attach me to Zoom. I have no idea why, because I've done Zoom plenty of times. Well, actually, I've done Teams and other. Maybe I'll do it on one of those. You can. But I'm glad that I did it here. Like I said, you can catch me on any platform. I am Tanisha Simpkins, and I'll catch you back here on next week. Next week will be the 12th. It'll be a little bit better, and we'll have more people to. We'll have people to ask because I didn't tell anyone about YouTube. I just said let me just try. We'll have people to interact with and ask questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and you guys have a wonderful and awesome day. And remember, seasons change. Seasons change.